Legacy Motor Club could be teasing their newest driver. Ryan Blaney finally gets some changes to his pitiful pit crew. And let's take a look at my newest Cup Series power rankings. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Talkin NASCAR. I'm your host, Andrew. Hope you all have had a great week. Hope your weekend has been very well. Hope you're maybe looking forward to the upcoming Kansas race for the NASCAR Cup Series race getting underway in a little bit less than an hour, actually. I'm recording this once again just before the green flag at Kansas Motor Speedway, the NASCAR Cup Series. Tyler Reddick will lead the field to the green flag, but before we get to that, I do have some stories from this past week that I do need to cover. So, starting off here by going all the way back to last week, talking about the entire Bristol race weekend. We already recapped the NASCAR Cup Series race from Bristol Motor Speedway. However, we have not talked in full about the Craftsman Truck Series and the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race from Bristol Motor Speedway. So, starting out here with the Truck Series on a Friday night. I already talked about this race just a little bit, talking about the Corey Heim and Christian Eckes incident in this race. Christian Eckes driving the 91 truck, even though he was the fastest truck, it does seem like in this race, he ended up finishing in 5th place. Christopher Bell, driving for Stuart Friesen's team, the Halmar Friesen Racing number 62 truck, he would end up picking up the victory, leading, I believe, the second most laps out of anyone in this race, only behind Christian Eckes, who had 132 laps led. Bell had 63. Chandler Smith rallies to a second place finish. Gio Ruggiero, driving for Tricon Garage, would end up in 3rd. Ross Chastain, another Cup Series driver in the field, would finish in 4th. Jake Garcia in 6th. How about Dawson Sutton getting a top 10 finish in the 26 for Rackley War Racing, the number 26 truck? He ends up in 7th. Kyle Busch and Carson Hocevar, two Cup Series veterans, driving both Spire trucks. Busch in the 7, Hocevar in the 77. They would finish in 8th and 9th. And then Brendan Queen, driving for Calling, would round out the top 10. And the rest of the top 15 would be Ben Rhodes, Daniel Hemrick, Tyler Ankrum, Chase Briscoe, another Cup Series guy, and then Justin Haley rounding out the top 15. Daniel Suarez was also in the field for this one. Finished in 18th, driving the 71 truck for Spire Motorsports. Carson Ferguson, driving the Ram number 25 truck. The free agent truck was another competitor on Ram's Race for the Seat reality TV show. He would finish in 21st in his first Craftsman Truck Series start of his career. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was also in the field for this one. And then Corey Heim, like I already mentioned, was up front was up front a lot in this race. He finished down in 30th. His teammate Caden Honeycutt, who started on pole, down in 31st. So those are your notable finishers from the Craftsman Truck Series race at Bristol Motor Speedway. And then looking at the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, William Sawalch would start on pole. I almost said Corey Day and Kyle Larson, but William Sawalch would start on pole. He would finish in 7th in this one, but it was Connor Zilich driving the one car for Junior Motorsports part-time this season. Zilich would pick up the victory in this one after starting in 15th. Only led 24 laps, but Kyle Larson was the big lap leader in this one, finishing in 2nd, driving the 88 car, led over 200 laps, 230 to be exact. He would finish in 2nd. Brent Cruz, driving the number 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, the rookie, finished in 3rd after starting in 17th, so a little bit of a rally there from the rookie. Allgaier, Kvapil, two Junior Motorsports cars in the top 5, or rounding out the top 5, Sheldon Creed driving for Haas, and then 00, finished in 6th. Corey Day down in 8th. Parker Retzloff continues to excel beyond all expectations so far this year, finished in 9th. And then Taylor Gray would round out the top 10. And the rest of the top 15 would be Ryan Sieg, Jesse Love, Sammy Smith, Raja Caruth driving for Jordan Anderson's team, and then Jeremy Clements rounding out the top 15. Some notable names outside the top 15, though, were Brandon Jones, who started in 4th, Sam Mayer, who started in 5th as well, finished in 20th. Not been a kind of good stretch for Sam Mayer ever since the opening of the season, been a little inconsistent. And then Austin Hill finished down in 21st after starting in 23rd, did not have the speed in this one, so tough day for Austin Hill, Sam Mayer, and Brandon Jones. And besides that, it's an interesting name in the field this weekend, or excuse me, last weekend. was Gray Galding driving the number 74 car for Mike Harmon's team, finished in 28th. So thought that was maybe a little bit interesting to point that out. It's been a little while since we've seen Gray Galding in a NASCAR uh, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series car. I remember he was driving kind of part time back in 2023 with, I believe it was SS Greenlight Racing, possibly in the '07. I know he also made some Cup starts that year with Rick Ware's team, the number 15 car. So I remember that very fondly. Those brightly colored Panini cars, this trading card company. I remember those cars very well. So yeah, there you go. Connor Zilich and Christopher Bell picking up the victories in the Truck Series and the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series races at Bristol last weekend. Now let's move on to some other news around the sport. We have some other news regarding the current lawsuit between Spire Motorsports' Chris Gabehart and his former team, Joe Gibbs Racing. And we got some word on the 14th, I believe this was Monday last week, maybe Tuesday, that we got that Chris Gabehart has apparently violated the temporary restraining order that has been put in place over this case. So Joe Gibbs Racing has claimed after this Bristol Motor Speedway race weekend that Gabehart was spotted at Bristol Motor Speedway working with the team. But since then, we have gotten responses from Chris Gabehart and his legal personnel saying that Chris Gabehart was not violating the restraining order. He was not, he was there assisting as the overall head competition director of all of Spire Motorsports, checking in on the Cup Series side of things, while Matt McCall was doing his duties as competition director for Spire Motorsports in the NASCAR Cup Series. So this was a very interesting claim that was brought to my attention when I was looking through the news feed over this past week. So I don't know how to feel about this. I mean, it's very interesting that, Joe Gibbs Racing would bring this up. I mean, Chris Gabehart's legal team said that it's just an improper attempt to introduce surveillance photos as evidence to bring in. So, and it's, I don't know. It's a very weird situation, I guess. I don't know really how to feel about this. Um, but this is definitely going to certainly probably, play an impact, or it could potentially play an impact into the trial down the road, because it doesn't look like there's any sort of settlement coming anytime soon for this case. So I don't know. I thought this was very interesting to hear, but yeah, for anyone who was maybe thinking that the lawsuit between Joe Gibbs Racing and Chris Gabehart was kind of, in its dead stage of the process, well, you're right. And two, like, it is still ongoing. It's just, kind of in a stage where we're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. And especially we got to wait until November for the trial to happen. So I don't know. Very interesting to hear this, that apparently Chris Gabehart, violated the temporary restraining order, was spotted at Bristol. I believe as well, Joe Gibbs Racing spotted Gabehart at more races than just Bristol, possibly filling out duties not only as senior competition director for Aspire Motorsports. Uh, I don't know. I don't have very much evidence to go off of or to judge. So, yeah, but very interesting report coming out of the NASCAR news world this past week. Moving on, though, we have some silly season news to talk about, and we have to go over to Legacy Motor Club in the NASCAR Cup Series and a post that Jimmy Johnson put out on his Instagram, I believe. It was him, it was a picture of him walking with current NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series driver and Toyota driver Harrison Burton. So there's some stuff to talk about there from that photo. Anyways, Harrison Burton, he is currently driving full time in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series with Sam Hunt Racing, another Toyota team in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. But before that, Harrison Burton drove in the Cup Series for 3 seasons in the NASCAR Cup Series for the Wood Brothers in the 21 car. Does have one career victory with that team. He won at Daytona in the summer of 2025, I believe. Summer of 2024. So he won that race, got his first career victory. However, was demoted back down to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Drove for AM Racing for 1 season last year, and then moved back over to Toyota with Sam Hunt Racing this year. And prior to being in the Cup Series with the Wood Brothers, he had an incredible season with Joe Gibbs Racing in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, winning several races. and that's what got him that opportunity in the NASCAR Cup Series. So Harrison Burton so far this year, I would say hasn't really had the luck that he probably would have wanted. I've seen him on the DNF's page a lot. I've seen him many laps down, getting caught up in wrecks. So I would say that Harrison Burton, he's kind of taken a step back production wise this year, but in some cases, I would say Harrison Burton has just kind of gotten unlucky because I think Harrison Burton is a good driver when it comes to O'Reilly Auto Parts Series competition. I mean, he took AM Racing to the playoffs on points last year. Yes, he didn't get a win, but he was still a very good driver last year, very consistent and good enough to get the team to the playoffs last year. So I could see reasons why, this picture of Jimmy Johnson talking with Harrison Burton is a silly season indicator, and it's a potential candidate for the third car that Legacy Motor Club is going to be opening up next year. I mean, in my opinion, I like Harrison Burton. I think he definitely is deserving to be a candidate. There's definitely some other guys I would maybe prefer over him. I'm thinking of guys like Taylor Gray, who just won last night in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at Kansas. Of course, Corey Heim, if he's not going to be driving for 2311 Racing next season, but I kind of find that unlikely. So, Harrison Burton seems like the next guy up. He has the most Cup Series experience out of anybody in the Toyota camp, more than Taylor Gray, more than William Sawalich, more than even Brent Cruz. Well, I mean, Brent Cruz is just a rookie, so he has the most experience out of everyone, and it makes sense why Harrison Burton is probably a top choice for Jimmy Johnson. So, we'll see where this goes. We haven't heard any concrete rumors yet, even, let alone any like indicators of Harrison Burton being a prime target of Legacy Motor Club. We just have this picture from Jimmy Johnson, so we'll see where this goes. But silly season may be getting a little bit of traction so far this year as Legacy Motor Club is looking to lock down their third full time driver for next season. Next up, there is a rumor that the NASCAR Clash, the season opening exhibition race, could be returning to Daytona next season. This rumor follows close behind several other announcements made by NASCAR about superspeedway racing. First, we had the stages at Talladega, the upcoming race, I believe next weekend. They are being shortened to prevent fuel saving strategy in superspeedway racing, and as well the return of preseason Thunder, the annual test that NASCAR hosts at Daytona Superspeedway in the beginning of January. So, yeah, this is very interesting, though. I think it's a good idea that NASCAR could be going back to Daytona for the Clash. I will say though, I do like the idea of going to these smaller short tracks, these grassroots short tracks on the East Coast. I do like that idea a lot, but I don't hate the idea of going back to Daytona for the Clash at all. So, I mean, it used to be called Speed Weeks for a reason. Daytona used to have these Speed Week festivities. You'd have, the preseason Thunder Test. Then you'd have the Clash the next week, and then you get to the week of the Daytona 500. You would have, the big qualifying session on Wednesday night. Then you'd have the dual races on Thursday, and then you would have the Truck Series race, the ARCA Menard Series race, then the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, and then finally the Cup Series on Sunday. So a lot of people have been calling for that to come back because in recent years it hasn't been at Daytona. Speed weeks haven't really been a thing. It's really been just Speed Week with the qualifying session, the Clash, the Daytona duels, and then the ARCA Menard Series race, the Craftsman Truck Series race, and the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, and then the Cup Series race. So it was just 1 week. So now people have been calling for the return of Speed Weeks with preseason Thunder and as well the Clash at Daytona International Speedway. It's been a couple years since the Clash was actually held at Daytona on the oval. We had the 1 year where it was the Daytona Road Course, but I'm not going to count that really. That was in 2021, I believe. So the last time we actually had the Clash at Daytona, I believe it was 2020, maybe 2019. 2020 might have been the year that it was on the oval, so I may be misremembering, but I'm very much in favor of this idea. Again, it's just a rumor. Haven't really heard anything concrete much more beyond this, so we'll have to wait and see. But it's really cool to hear that NASCAR is possibly considering a return to Daytona for the Clash, the season opening exhibition race for the NASCAR Cup Series. So let me know down in the comments though what you think about this rumor. Should NASCAR be returning to Daytona for the Clash to begin the season? Let me know down in the comment section below. And before we get to our power rankings segment, we have a couple pieces about Team Penske, starting with Josh Berry's team, the number 21 car for the Wood Brothers. It was announced that Matt Swiderski will be crew chiefing Josh Berry this weekend at Kansas, as Berry's usual crew chief of Miles Stanley is out this weekend due to personal reasons. So, wishing Miles Stanley the quickest return back to the helm of the pit box for Josh Berry's number 21 team. And then Ryan Blaney finally is getting some changes coming to his pit crew this coming weekend at Kansas. He was supposed to be getting Pat Gray onto his Jackman position for Blaney's pit crew. However, Pat Gray will not be able to compete this weekend, so Ryan Blaney will be getting Graham Stoddard from Noah Gregson's number 4 team, while Landon Honeycutt, Blaney's former Jackman, will be heading over to the number 21 car for Josh Berry as their Jackman. So good news for Ryan Blaney, finally getting some change to their pitiful pit crew. Lost him the lead several times so far this year in several different races. Look at Bristol, look at Phoenix. At Phoenix, he was still able to come back and win. That was just how good Ryan Blaney was at Phoenix. However, at Bristol, Blaney could not replicate that same magic last weekend. Lost the lead several times, even though he was in the number 1 pit stall. He just could not hold on to that lead on pit road. Blaney's pit crew does rank 35th out of 36 full-time teams in the NASCAR Cup Series right now. So that's just how bad it is. And total over the course of this season so far, a little under a quarter of the way through the year, they've lost a net total of 88 positions on pit road. That's a lot. That's way too many for this team right now. They cannot be losing that many positions when their driver Ryan Blaney is constantly up front and competing for race wins like we saw at Bristol. And as good as Blaney has been so far this year, he just can't have that on pit road. He cannot win races with a pit crew like that. But we'll have to see now if this change to Ryan Blaney's pit crew will help this team improve over the course of the year, because they will need to improve on pit road if they are going to be a chase contender later on this year. But now it is time to move on to the final segment of today's show. It's time for my NASCAR Cup Series Power Rankings post-Bristol edition as we head into Kansas. Let's take a look at them. I have 2 honorable mentions this week real quick. First, I have Chase Briscoe. Had an outstanding race at Bristol this past weekend. Got a really good top 5 finish, after getting a good starting position. These are the races that we expect from Chase Briscoe on a weekly basis, And if Chase Briscoe can continue doing this, he'll be right back in the chase conversation. He's just outside the chase now after a really rough start. We'll see how high Chase Briscoe can go over the next couple of weeks. And then Chris Buescher as well. I mean, what is there to say that Chris Buescher can't do? He is just extremely consistent, racking up the top 15 finishes, good starting positions, get some stage points here and there, but doesn't really blow you away. But that's what I really like about Chris Buescher. He is smooth and consistent. That's all I really ask for out of these drivers. I just need to see him getting more stage points and more top 10s and more laps led. But Chris Buescher still one of my favorite drivers in the garage right now. I have him as an honorable mention this week. But starting off here at number 10, I have William Byron, a big drop down from last weekend when he was at number 5. He's back down to number 10. I mean, what has been happening for William Byron over the last couple of weeks? I mean, he had a good couple of weeks at Darlington and Martinsville, but Bristol, he was just non-existent pretty much. I mean, reflected pretty much all of Hendrick Motorsports except for Kyle Larson, who was the lone outlier. It just hasn't looked like William Byron has been the same this year, and Hendrick overall as a whole. So I'm very concerned about William Byron right now. He has just not looked like the same driver. Hopefully at Kansas he's able to rebound. It's a 1.5-mile track. It's a track that Hendrick Motorsports should be good at. It should be a track that the team is able to find good speed at. But right now, I'm not liking what William Byron has been doing. He's kind of just on the fringes now of being in the top 10. So we'll see how Byron can do if he can climb his way back up through the rankings. But I have not been impressed by William Byron at all this year. So I have him at number 10. At number 9, I have Joey Logano. Logano, I will say this. He goes through cold and dry spells, but Bristol fought back from a lot, started deep in the field, but finished in 7th. It was a good day for Joey Logano. Didn't lead any laps. It's kind of been what Logano has done all year pretty much. Doesn't have great qualifying efforts, but is able to grind it out, and get a good finish out of it. So that's exactly what we saw today or last weekend out of Joey Logano. We'll see if he's able to pick it up over the course of this season. So I got Logano at number 9. At number 8, I have Christopher Bell. Another solid day from Bell. Kind of similar to William Byron, though. Just hasn't really, done a lot this year. Hasn't been nearly as good as expected. Christopher Bell did show some good speed at Bristol. Was looking like a top 10 contender in this one, but unfortunately had a tire issue in the rear of his car. Ended up hitting the outside wall, broke a toe link, could not recover from it. So he is down a couple of spots from last week, down 1 spot. So I'm not going to hold the mistake on Bell too much. I think Bell still is, a top 10 driver in the sport. He's just not up in the top 5 range where we usually expect Christopher Bell to be. So I still like him. We'll see how he does at Kansas next week. He's done well there in the past, but he and Byron both need rebounds desperately as we move further on into this season. At number 7, though, I have Bubba Wallace. On the other end of the spectrum, Bubba, I feel like it's kind of like a Chris Buescher where he's extremely consistent. He'll sneak into the top 10, get some stage points, and do pretty solid. So that's what I'm liking from Bubba. Got an 11th place finish at Bristol. Didn't really move much higher than that throughout this one. He did earn some stage points, I believe. Earned some stage points in stage 2 and I believe in stage 1 as well, along with his teammate of Riley Herbst. So Bubba, kind of hovering around that bottom half of the top 10, but still being pretty consistent overall to start this year. So I have Bubba at number 7. Moving on to number 6, I have Kyle Larson. Larson was up front a lot at Bristol. Led the most laps out of anyone after starting in 8th. However, it fell just short, finishing in 3rd behind Blaney and Ty Gibbs. We just haven't seen Kyle Larson win yet. That's like the thing we're missing from Kyle Larson. He's going on a pretty long winless streak at this point. So the speed is there for Kyle Larson. It's just, can he stay up front and win a race is the question. We're heading to Kansas. He's been very good at Kansas. He's been up front a lot. He's been in contention for wins. He won a photo finish at Kansas back in 24 against Chris Buescher. So Larson can win here at Kansas. He was close at Bristol. Maybe Kansas will be the one to get it done. So I got Kyle Larson at number 6. At number 5, though, I have Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs has been on fire the last couple of weeks. Obviously got his first win at Bristol to get his career going, get it back on track. He has been flying up the point standings over the last couple of weeks, and he's been getting really, really hot at the right time. So Ty Gibbs, he's been showing a lot of good speed. Kansas is another good track for Toyota overall as a manufacturer, and with how hot Ty Gibbs has been, I'm expecting things to go well for Ty Gibbs at Kansas. So I got Gibbs at number 5. Might be a little bit aggressive, but we'll see where it goes from there. So moving on to number 4, I still got Chase Elliott, and you might be wondering why. Well, I just like Chase Elliott's consistency, and I say that Elliott did have a 22nd place finish, but the reason I am keeping him inside my top 5 is because the last time we did go to Kansas, Chase Elliott was our winner. And while Chase Elliott more often than not hasn't had race-winning pace, I do like just the overall consistency and just the overall smoothness out of Chase Elliott. Doesn't get himself in trouble very much. More often than not is inside the top 15, if not the top 20. So I'm just liking that overall from Chase Elliott. Is it a little bit high? Maybe, but I've been known for overrating Chase Elliott before, so it's nothing new when it comes to this show. But Elliott, though, he's kind of on like the fringes of being inside the top 5 moving forward. So I got Elliott number 4. We'll see if he can hold on to this number 4 position moving forward. At number 3, I got Tyler Reddick, down 2 spots from his number 1 position last week. Reddick is still good. Tyler Reddick is still very, very good. He's still up at the top of the point standings right now. He qualified on the front row at Bristol, was on the front row again this weekend at Kansas, and he's just with a good team that knows how to get it done at Kansas. He was right there up at the front at the end at Bristol, finished in 4th, was in contention for the win, was battling with Ty Gibbs, and now he's heading to one of his team's better tracks with Kansas. That car, the 45 car, has won there twice in the next gen era with Kurt Busch and Bubba Wallace, and has come close, and actually it won there a 3rd time with Reddick behind the wheel in the 2023 playoffs. So Reddick has won here. He's been very good here. His car owner of Hamlin has done very good here. Bubba Wallace, his teammate, has done very good here. Kurt Busch has got it done here before. So I'm liking the projections moving forward for Tyler Reddick, and he still put up a really good result at Bristol. However, I do think that the two guys in front of him do deserve to be up ahead of him a little bit more. So at number 2, though, I have his car owner of Denny Hamlin. I mean, Denny Hamlin, he didn't have exactly the finish he wanted, finished down in 9th, but he was up front a good portion of that race at Bristol. And similar to Tyler Reddick, Hamlin has been really, really good at Kansas. He's been up front. He's been competing with the win for the win against Kyle Larson and drivers like that. He's gotten it done a couple times. He even had to wreck Kyle Larson one time to get that win. But Hamlin knows how to get it done. He's got a lot of experience at Kansas. I have a full faith in Hamlin, and he was up front a little bit more than Reddick, so that does, in my opinion, deserve a top 2 position in my power rankings. However, at number 1 after Bristol, I have Ryan Blaney. I mean, Ryan Blaney started on pole, was up front pretty much all day, led almost 200 laps in that race, had the fastest lap out of everyone. I mean, Blaney has been very, very solid over the course of the year. If it weren't for his absolutely abysmal pit crew, Ryan Blaney could be a number 1 driver every single week. It's just his pit crew can't keep him up front all the time. So that may be a little bit of a detriment when it comes to Ryan Blaney. But, even still, the pace for Ryan Blaney is still absolutely incredible. Will he be able to hold on to this number 1 position? We'll see. We'll see moving forward. But right now, I got Ryan Blaney in my number 1 position after Bristol. So that's going to do it for my power rankings. Quick run through once again. Number 1, Ryan Blaney. Number 2, Denny Hamlin. Number 3, Tyler Reddick. Number 4, Chase Elliott. Number 5, Ty Gibbs. Number 6, Kyle Larson. Number 7, Bubba Wallace. Number 8, Christopher Bell. Number 9, Joey Logano. And number 10, William Byron, with honorable mentions being Chris Buescher and Chase Briscoe. But that will do it for this episode of Talkin NASCAR, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure you follow the show so you never miss another episode if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Also, go check out the YouTube channel as well. Go subscribe to it if you haven't already. Leave a like on the video if you haven't already. So go check it out. And also go check out Talking Sports with Miles and Andrew, the other show I co-host with. We're having a lot of fun over there. Sports are going to get really interesting as baseball is already underway. The NFL draft is coming up very, very soon. The NBA playoffs are underway. So we're going to have a lot to talk about over there in the next couple of weeks. So go check out that show, the Spotify page, and the YouTube channel will be linked down in the description below. Same thing for this show, Spotify page, and the YouTube channel down below. So thank you all for listening. I still don't know how to do these outros, but maybe one day I'll figure it out. So thank you all for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.